if I just put this on the line and just start following these lines, what's going to happen is, just like on island, there's going to be a 1 foot straight piece over there, and then it'll curve, because the mold zone is straight. Makes sense. Okay? To make it easier for us to come back around and not have to trowel that, if I can put that curve in that first foot, it's going to make it easier on the back end. Okay? So what I do is, here's your line. I start this outside the line a couple inches. Okay? Really, I should be about right here, but if you start it out just a little bit, as I sit on the machine, and it's got a split there, and I'm starting to pump that, because I want that to raise. Once I sit on the machine, it starts to pump. I'm going to crank this really sharp. And I'm going to use my arm, and I'm going to lift. Okay? I'm going to crank it real tight, and then push in a little bit. And if I do it just right, I just put that curve in that first foot. You'll understand what I mean when I come back around, and we get to where we're just going to stop. We shut the machine off. We lift the machine, and then 1 foot straight. Okay? That's easy because it's still soft, because you just got it done. If you're on a 100-foot island and you don't put that curve in there, you're going to come all the way back around. Now you got to put the curve in that dry mix. Okay? Even though this ring isn't going to take us very long, you don't have to do that. It's going to save time. So once this starts, and I get to the height that I want, I'm going to sit down on it, get to the height I want. Okay? Turn this pretty sharp, and I'm going to use my hip, and I'm going to get it over. Okay? And then flatten it back out and go back on the line. The way I do these, and once you get used to doing it a certain way, and my body's on the outside, again, I'm trying to put pressure towards the front of the curve. Okay, accordion. Inside is really tight, the outside is gripping, okay, it's open. So my hip here is going to direct pressure to the front. Here, because this curve is so tight, and it's no different if you're doing a pretty sharp inside curve on a line, instead of having your hand on top, like this, like you would normally do, take your hand and flip it underneath. Okay, the reason for that is centrifugal force wants this machine to go this way. You're trying to force it in another direction. If I just stand behind it like this, okay, and I'm trying to make this turn here with this dirt and the rocks, this won't let it turn. It'll slide into this way. Okay? So there's two things. I'm putting pressure here, more pressure there, but I'm also preventing the machine from going out. If I need to, I can actually push the machine in and go this way. By having my hand on the top like this, your natural tendency is to push down, which doesn't let your wheels turn, so it slides. If you get into trouble when you have your hand like this, I was telling you that earlier, it's easier to do curls like this than it is like this. So if I have my hand underneath, I get a little bit too low right there, I get in a little bit of trouble, I can lift and do a curl and pull along with using my hips, push, and I can move that front machine. If I have my hand on top, it's twice as hard, okay? Once you get in your line and you get where you're supposed to be, you have your elbow in that same spot and your body's in the same spot. If your elbow is locked, you essentially close your eyes and it'll take you down that circle. Because it's locked. Now, if we're only running one mix and I have to stop right here, guess what? I lose my lock. Now I gotta get back down here, I gotta find the same bend, and that's what usually happens. You have a little knuckle right there to get try to get back on the line. This is really kind of difficult because to do two mixes on the whole run, because basically what you're doing is you're doing half squat the whole way around. These guys lift weights, they know squats are, okay? You're doing a half squat the whole way around, so you're that static lift all the way around. By the time you get over here, okay, you're dying. Okay, and you get off the machine, it's killing you. So it's important that this guy is moving, the rhythm is good. You don't want to plug it up all the time because when you get tired, you just shut it off. Okay, I can tell you this is a little dry. Okay, you can see how small they are. Okay, and that's fine because you'll be able to tell maybe it's kind of cracking on us a little bit, be a little bit harder to finish at the end. I will have Rob. Can you shovel this for me? Him and I got to couple 100,000 feet together, maybe. So his rhythm is based on, I'm going to crank this up. This is going to be wide open. I'm going to make sure that inside skid is off the ground, at least a finger. Okay, because I don't want, if that drags, okay, that's going to whip open. I don't want that to happen. I'm going to sit on the machine, get it up in there. Want it to be high enough. Okay, crank it over. Okay, now flatten it out. I got my bend. Okay? I'm trying to keep that bend. That's an ass kicker. It's shutting off over there for some reason. Okay, so now watch. When I lift this up, you're gonna see what I mean. There's your 1 foot straight. I don't have that straight right here, okay, which is great, and I don't have to mess with that. But all you need to do with this, put the bend in. If your tire's in the right spot, again, you can run your tire right past, and you only have to hand pack about 6 inches. And it's fairly round. If it was a little bit softer, 3 seconds maybe, that would all stay together a lot better. And it would have a nice, this is not going to be impossible to finish. But again, you're looking for the ease of it, especially if you're the guy on the ground and you're on the machine with a 3-man crew. Okay, so I need to kind of get going on this. You can see the level of this as I did that wheelie and I sat on the machine compared to the level of this. It's pretty nice, okay, so it should be pretty decent. Okay, I want to establish my line first. I'm going to need the fatty. Anybody got that flat trowel? Feather that. Okay, you hear it? It's dry. You can hear it in the, okay? Now, this isn't going to be impossible to finish, but I can tell right now, just from looking down at it, I got a little bit of an eyeball here, a little bit of a knuckle. Because I didn't pack the shit out of it, I can move this. Okay?
Good, and don't you use anything to say you want to mark your spot?
Exactly. Which would be about right here. Okay, I'll put that little rock there. Yeah. Okay, so go and be fairly generous with it, not crazy, but because this is a little bit. There you go. Now I'm not worried about pressure on the inside. That's my pinch point. That's my accordion. It's just the bottom here. Okay, so I'm running my knuckle here so I can get this top portion, and I'm pinching the bottom. Okay, this is what I was telling you about earlier. You can't extend your arms out too far, because if you do, this digs in, because you can't make that turn. So you got to keep everything tight in front of you, and you're doing just a little bit at a time. I'm really putting hard pressure in on the bottom and my knuckle on top. On this first run, I don't give a shit what happens to the top. I still got some cracking. I'm going to do it again anyway, okay? So don't stop. Keep going. Okay. Finishing job? Okay. Well, that one was definitely dry. The bottom's pretty good now. Now I'm going to put more pressure on the top so I can try to get everything I need to. here, now you need to look. It's what I explained yesterday on that island too. First job. The street is over here and the house is here. I would have liked to start my island back there. I can tell where I started. Okay, so
Yeah,
as I'm
you won't
looking
have
at
that
this,
on the back, so they're seeing that from the street.
yep, as I'm looking at this, I would walk out to the street. That's pretty round here. I mean, it's not bad. So I wouldn't mess with anything here. I know that I still got a knuckle here. The issue is it's a little dry, so I gotta be careful when I'm moving this. If I get any separation, I'm gonna have to re-trowel it. That's a little flat there, but you can understand you can never get a perfect circle. There's no such thing. You can get pretty damn close if you're on flat ground, or if you're in like thin sod and you cut that tree ring really nice, and you can keep it in that trench, like our small trench. It's a lot easier to stay in that trench and go around. This wants to slide on you. You just have to remember when you're going around that corner, get that hand underneath. And if you're going to push in with your hips, you have to do the push with your hips and a lift and pull with this at the same time. If you don't lift and pull and you're pushing, well, the curb is leaning. This isn't going anywhere. You got to lift, push. Okay, so it's a combination. You have your hand on top, you can't lift, push. Get your body on the outside. You got to see the whole thing here. If you're standing in back of this, and that thing is trying to make that corner, it's going to slide this way, it's going to start bouncing all over the place. You have to be the one to control the machine. You can't let the machine tell you what to do. If it starts bouncing and starts doing stuff, you're not controlling the machine. You got to be all over this thing. Okay, so you're on the outside, in there. You still got your hand free. You can adjust. You have 2 points of pressure. You can pull. And this really goes for any time you do a tight inside corner, around the house, around an island or whatever. We have a tight inside corner. Put your hand underneath. Put your body on the outside. You can manipulate. If you start digging and that shit's still pumping, lift that sucker and pull it. Because if you don't, it's just going to blow out and it's going to take you 10 more minutes to fix that. What you do, just throw that sucker went. And when in doubt, shut it off. So you know, have an accident. Your joints, you can do a couple different things. When they're a good sized circle like this, that looks like an eyeball, just a little bit, right? So it's a little longer here than it is here, but from the street looks good. Make sure you get your joint where you're connected. You can do a 12, 6, 3, 9 type of deal, which is going to take you longer, in your joint. A ring this big, all we do is, I'm no more really 18 inches. Okay, a lot of stress there. Don't want to have any cracks. And so what we do is we come all the way around. When we get to here, now you need to stop. And you need to start splitting the difference. Okay? Because if you don't pay attention, you just keep cutting. Oh shit! That was dumb. Okay? Then if you have somebody do that and they're new, every time after that you're making them do 12, 6, 3, 9. Do that shit because they're not paying attention. That has to be re-troweled and redone. Okay, because you can't have that next to that. So from here I would, just kind of split the difference. So figure out what the distances are. That's the same with an island too. You got to connect back up. Make sure you stop 6 feet. Kind of space it out. Make sure they're even as much as you can anyway. So we'll practice. We'll paint a bunch of them out. Jump on there. I can tell you right now, don't worry about how bad it is. It's going to be all over the place. Get away, ignore the line. If you get outside the line, okay, that's fine. Keep going with that curve, even though it's outside the line an inch here, over here, now it's outside the line 3 inches. Just keep maintaining that curve and just get used to running the machine and feeling the machine. Don't worry about the circle. If you're going to screw it up anyway, you'd rather screw it up outside the line because you can push it in against the curve. An arch, it's pushing again. You can push it in against. If you're inside the line, you're pulling out against that accordion and splitting on the outside. So if you're going to screw it up to the outside. So push it in. I mean, think about how do I use this trowel to push out, to pull out? You're screwing that whole thing up. You're gonna have to use your hands and pull it out. And once you do that, you got to re-trowel and all sorts of stuff. I know a lot of my buddies, as far as the bend in the elbow and on the outside, you know, run the machines like that, so they think I'm kind of goofy. But for me, it's just the way you know, they kind of stand on the outside. Some of them are lighter, you know, machines and stuff. They kind of stand on the outside and just gonna let the machine do what they do. But, for me, it's just, especially explaining pressure and angles and yeah, and just, well, I can see everything if I'm standing on the side, and if I know I need to lift, I can lift. And maybe after a while, you run the machine, and plus you're troweling too, because you only have a 3-man crew or a 2-man crew. You learn so many little things that's going to help you later on the ground. It's just one of those things. It's the same thing. I mean, mixing up there all day long, but never ever coming over here to see what that mix looks like, and you know, you might not understand that. So yes, good. Okay, let's go ahead and paint some over here.